couple of days ago, we were talking about the scripted promos and arguments about should they be scripted, should they be bullet points, should the guys just go out and do what they do. And my argument was that everybody's different. And ironically, we had Lana doing an interview where she talked about how her first year, when she was a ravishing Russian, and it's probably the best thing she ever did in her WWE career when she was doing all the promos for Miro, those were all 100% scripted promos by Vince McMahon. And in her case, I mean, it worked. And my argument was that everybody is different. Some people are going to be fine with bullet points. Some people are going to need full scripting. Some people, you just tell them to go talk and they can talk. That's my thoughts on this, Lance. Where do you fall?
Well, I agree with you that everyone is different. But it was interesting, and I didn't know this, they just mentioned it, the part about Vince scripting Lana's stuff. Vince scripted the initial Un-American stuff. You know, there was one real strong, powerful, you know what right did you have in Vietnam? It was a lot of verbiage, and we knew Vince, because the Un-Americans was a Vince idea. It was a plan he had, and he was invested in it. He knew exactly where he wanted it to go, and he actually wrote those first few promos. And I think because he was the creator, he was the one that had the image of the gimmick, the character, and where he wanted to go, him scripting those promos, I think, was probably a really good idea. But to just have Joe Blow writer with, oh, hey, Steve, let's just say, you know, you're now writing this thing for a Miro or a Chris Jericho or a Dolph Ziggler, I think that's where you get into problems with someone putting words and thoughts and emotions into someone else's heads that aren't the same. But I think what was the best approach, and oddly enough, it was WCW in 2000, which, you know, there's not a lot we can say that's tremendous about that. But at least for me, their procedure at that point in time is the writers did write your promo. Like, I'd be given the page out of the format sheet. Oh, here's your promo. And they would have it scripted. But when my agent gave me that, he made it very clear to me, feel free to rewrite it, feel free to change it, but make sure the gist and the idea of what this says is the same. So if you're shitty, don't have ideas, or just lazy because I'm getting my check, I'll just say whatever the hell it says here, then you're covered because they're doing their best. But I rewrote almost all of mine. And it's like, okay, this is where we want me to go. And it's like, so I'd read what they gave me and go, okay, these are important points. I'll need to. And sometimes I just changed a couple of words so it flowed better out of my mouth. Sometimes I completely gave it a different approach and rewrote 90% of it. And there was a few occasions, if it wasn't too detailed, where it's like, all right, we need this and this. And it's like, for the most part, I'll go out and wing it. And I believe if I ever got to the point where they didn't like what I do, they would come to me with, okay, yeah, you really missed on this one. This isn't where we want it to go. And they could change it. But you had the freedom to use as little or as much of what they gave you as you wanted. And I think that's where it's good. So if you are, you know, pick someone, say Bryan here is just dumb as a stump and needs everything written out for them, then just take exactly what you're given and read the stuff. And if you're, let's say Vinny is, you know, the rock of promos, it's like he'll just give it a quick read and go, okay, they want me to be this, you know, and just throw the shit away and make it up and it'll be 100 times better. Or if you're someone like me, it's like, okay, I'll take it and I'll use anywhere between 20 and 80%, depending on what fits my mood. And I think that's probably the best approach. And to that end, I think with, you know, Vince or the agents or the producers or whatever they want to call them, then they just need to either encourage you to take more rope or reel you in if you get too far. And I know when I was there the last time in WWE, there were certain guys that did have, I guess they earned, you know, the respect or the trust where they were allowed to ad-lib and freeform a little bit. Even in the back and forth segments, if, you know, there was a couple guys that they had faith in, it's like they'd have their quote unquote, I'm doing air quotes here for those that aren't video subscribers, you've got your scripted promo, but if you're feeling something out there, go for it. And obviously, if you screw up too many times, they'll take that freedom away from you. And I think that's probably reasonable. But encouraging people to just, here's your script, read it, I don't think works. Because I'm trying to think, it was probably Jericho, but many people have always said, it's like, no one will know your character better than you. And certainly no one should. Like, no one should have a better idea of who Miro is than Miro. No one should have a better idea who Roman Reigns is than Roman Reigns. And to that end, I think, we're getting a big-ass storm here. I can hear the hail hitting the house.
Dude, I can hear it.
Wow, it's serious.
Are you living in a metal shed? What's going on?
The crazy thing is, this is, well, I've got a window here, but this is a 2-story house, and it feels like I can feel it hitting the ceiling. But,
yeah, for once, everybody, this is Lance. This is a problem on Lance's head, not mine this time.
Yeah, we're having a thunderstorm with gigantic hail. Hopefully we covered my wife's plants and stuff. Hopefully the wind's not so bad that it's tearing that up. But it's it's sounding like we're getting hit with mortar fire at this point. But again, you have to know your character, and no one should be putting more thought into how you feel and what you want to say than you. Because writers have all this other shit to deal with. But at the end of the day, if I show up to Raw or I show up to Dynamite, whoever I'm working for, Impact, Ring of Honor, it's like I should have been thinking the whole week on what I'm in, what I'm doing, who I am. So I do believe that being at the very least allowed to rewrite your promos or present what you would rather say. Because, and again, AEW is a clear example of that. It's like, look at the Jack Swagger Proud and Powerful promo from AEW Dynamite. It's like, that was 1,000 times better than any other promo I've ever seen Jack Swagger cut ever in my life. And I believe they're not scripted. And I've worked briefly, actually, with Proud and Powerful when I was, I did some agenting in Impact briefly. And they were there then. And it's like, those guys don't need to be told what to say. It's like they know who they are. And that's where I'm big on the emotion. And even if you script me, you've got to let me change it and put my emotion, because I don't think any of us are good enough actors to, take any script and make it work like a Robert De Niro might be able to. It's like, you got to give us freedom and you got to let us find our own emotion.
Oh, and it's a mess tonight. It's
good.
Big mess.
Uh-huh.
I've got so much junk here, I don't know what I'm doing. Bryan versus Reigns. That was WrestleMania 6, 1990.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was not at all.
Warrior versus Hogan.
No, how fitting.
Both very tan. Start
I'll
out.
say.
I've been laughing at myself on the show. I don't know if I'm laughing at myself or with myself.
Who cares? You're laughing.
Well, it's
What
kinda,
difference does it make?
Well, it makes me feel kind of stupid.
What?
Like I'm doing something dumb.
Granny, do you personally agree that Bryan is on the genius level of intelligence?
Of course I am.
I don't think so.
Why?
not how-
what evidence,
not how I expected
what
this to
evidence do
go.
you have, Granny, that I'm not a genius?
Oh, I've got
Besides
lots.
the first 10 minutes of this show.
We used to do the twist and the polka and the hip hop, and there was one other
Excuse me,
one I
the
can-
hip hop?
Yeah, hip hop.
Really?
That's what.
Granny did hip hop.
Huh.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
No, I don't.
Sounds like you're a grandmaster instead of a grandmother.
My phone's ringing.
You don't say.
Who's calling?
I'll just let it ring.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
It's probably my brother.
It doesn't say on the screen who's calling.
I haven't looked.
If you enjoy these videos, for just $7.99 per month, you can enjoy full-length editions of The Bryan and Vinny Show, Wrestling Observer Live, Figure 4 Daily with Tom Lawler and Lance Storm, the Mad Men Podcast, Speak Now Pro Wrestling with Denise Salcedo, and more, plus hundreds of archived shows, all in beautiful HD. Don't miss out. Join us today.